welcome back. It's good to be back. How's everyone doing? Let's see who's in the chat. Joe Turner, welcome. 어서 오세요. Let's see. That's right. Trogdor. Can't pronounce it. 안녕하세요. Welcome. Few new people in the chat. Everyone, you are early. We'll get started right at the top of the hour. Top of the hour to you. I don't think that's an expression used anywhere in the world. Today we have a beginner level lesson. Before we start, we have a few quick announcements. I'll make those and then we can do some chat messages and then we'll start. If you are not already, please consider becoming a Patreon member of mine. It only costs $1 or more if you can, but $1 gets you access to all of these live stream outlines and worksheets, which are optional, but it is the entire live stream summarized into a outline. In fact, it's the outline I'm using whenever I teach. Every single one of these outlines I've ever done for every live stream class is available up there for free after you've paid, of course, but it's free. You can get all of them. And you also get additional benefits for joining Patreon, like some extra updates, the ability to vote on new topics, as well as different member benefits if you're a YouTube member. So please consider that if you are interested in getting some extra benefits and showing your support. I will put a link in the chat. Let's go here. Oh, hey, Carrie. Saw your name pop up as well. 안녕하세요, 선생님. 잘 지내세요? 네, 잘 지내고 있습니다. 선생님의 여행은 okay, 즐겁게 보내셨습니까? Or 쉬었어요? Yes, I did. Actually, let me just put a link here real quick. Let's see. Where did that go? Patreon. There we go. I'll put a link to my Patreon in the chat box there. Yes, I had a great trip. I just came back about a week and a half ago. I don't actually know how long. It was about maybe just a week. I don't know. Anyway, it feels like it's been a week or so. And I, as soon as I could, prepared to do this live stream again. I couldn't do it last Sunday because I was way too busy still unpacking it and everything. But this Sunday, I made sure to start. However, there will be no live stream next Sunday. The reason is I'm going to be busy. I already had something scheduled for next Sunday. But the next Sunday after that and the Sunday following that will be back to the normal schedule. So we are back to doing live streams. It's just not every single week. Typically we do, it's changed, but typically we do 2 live streams in a row and then 1 live stream off. So pretend that I just did one last Sunday and I'm doing one this Sunday and next Sunday is off. But if you're ever curious, let me give you the schedule for that. I have a Google document where you can see all of the live streams I've ever done with links to all of them. The abridged versions, outlines, worksheets, everything, every topic, the date, it's all there. And also the future live streams are listed as well. So if you're ever wondering, when's the next live stream? Well, it's on that list. In fact, the next 2 are already posted there. And I'll probably add the other ones as well after I can take a look at my schedule. I'll add some more onto that. Other things to be aware of. Let's see. I have a active Discord channel, which is also open 24/7 and free. You can join to interact with other people who are learning Korean. I say it's active. I'd say semi-active. Some periods it's much more active. And especially check out the Korean questions channel. If you're not, if you need any help with your Korean studies, you can go there and ask questions and get answers. You can also chat with other learners in general. There are some fluent level speakers. There are some advanced, intermediate, beginner, all levels are in there, and you're welcome to join. Let's see, is there any other announcement I need to make? I guess I could do, let's see here. Let's do, maybe that. I'll put this on here, hold on. Pin. Okay, I also have some merchandise. It's just another way to support me if you're interested in wearing anything from my brand. I don't know if it'll actually work correctly, but I tried to pin it. We'll see if it works. Anyway, again, you're not required to wear those in order to attend these free live streams. Just keep that in mind. Okay, that is all the announcements. I'll make them again later. Let's see who else is here. Did I miss any other comments? Okay, now let me go through some of the regular comments. I saw my members ones first because those are in green. See who else is here. Someone said it's 4:45 a.m. Dreamglow says that. Now the question is, did you wake up or are you not sleeping in order to watch this? One of them would be, well, I'd hope that you woke up and not that you didn't sleep to watch it. But then I don't know, maybe you work night shifts and, or wait, no, then you'd be working right now. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. Welcome, Pangolin. Sue asks, do you know of anyone who can teach private lessons? I have private lessons, though they might not be what you're looking for. I know it's not the best. I'm not the best person at marketing, but if you're looking for just regular Korean practice, if you want someone you can bounce a few questions off, I would recommend just finding a regular Korean tutor. They're fairly affordable. There are websites like, I think Say Speaking, italki. There are a few websites like that. They're all kind of similar. I also offer tutoring. I'll put information here. Hold on. Where is my tutoring button? Here we go. I don't use that button too much. Wait, did I? Here we go. There we go. I have a button for tutoring. I don't use it very much. But I do have information for private tutoring if you are interested in, you have some specific thing you just really want me to explain to you, or something you want to work on directly with me, not just a Korean teacher, but you want me, then yes, I have an option for that. I don't do it too much. It's really more, I would say, customized and not general. So I both recommend and don't recommend myself for that sort of thing, but it is available. Let's see. Brenda Lee says, hi from New Zealand. Hello. Monday, 8 a.m. Nice. I have another friend who's, actually I have one friend who's in New Zealand. So I guess he's also waking up too. Or no, he has a kid. He's probably been awake for a couple hours now. Welcome. Yes, some people saying welcome back. That's right. We did take a pause from these live streams over the summer. And I do that every year when I go to Korea. I have to take a break because I can't do these classes. This whiteboard is here in my apartment in the US. It's at my house in the US. I can't bring this to Korea. I have lights. I can't bring these to Korea. But we can still travel to Korea through the magic of video editing. I can show you what we have here. This. I can't remember the name of it because I downloaded the image file and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. And I didn't keep track of where it is, but maybe I'll go there for real someday. Maybe I'll do a live stream, like a class from Korea one day. And I just won't say anything about how we're actually at the location and see how many people notice. Yeah. So when I'm in Korea, I can't do these live classes. Instead, I'll do regular live streams where we can just walk around. Usually I'm in Suwon, for anyone who's seen those before. Let's see, who else is here? Brisket and some ribs. That sounds marvelous. Hi from Florida. Okay. Someone said it's 11 p.m. in Poland. Wow. And Emily says you're from Yeongguk, okay, from England. Nice. Stella's mom. Stella's mom. You have definitely got it going on. Thank you so much, Stella's mom. That is so nice. Nice welcome back message. I'm going to put you right here. Would you like 20 dabs? I'll give you 20 dabs for your donation. So let me put some music on. Where's my music? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 dabs. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yes. And yes, I will be back at least until my next Korea trip. But if I take another Korea trip, it won't be very long this time. My summer trip is my longest. That's like 3 months. So I pause these live streams for almost 4 months, like a week or so in advance so I can prepare and pack up everything. And then like a week or so after so I can recover from jet lag. And when I go, if I take a second trip though, it's much shorter. I usually stream the day before I leave. And I can stream right when I get back. So that's like a 3-4 week gap versus a 4-month gap. So if I will go again, I'll let everyone know though. 안녕하세요, Billy. Would you recommend finishing your book series before going to Korea, or is it useless since I probably won't be able to communicate that much in Korean anyway? It's not so much about finishing a lesson. Now, this doesn't apply to my stuff specifically, it applies to anything. It's not so much about finishing a lesson. It's about being able to use the material. Someone could finish a gigantic, Korean course, a full college course, 3 years, whatever, and not speak Korean. I've met people who have passed TOPIK 6 and can't have a conversation in Korean. It's not so much about what you know in Korean, it's what you can use. Since Korean is a spoken language, I wouldn't worry about it. It's more about what you can actually speak. So whether you finish the book or not, it doesn't really matter. Just focus on practicing where you're at. And yeah, definitely go to Korea still. I mean, you could go to Korea without speaking any Korean. You'll still have a great time. You can know some Korean, and when you come back, you'll feel like you know a little bit more. You gain a lot when you're there. And there are experiences with speaking Korean and listening that you simply cannot get outside of Korea. So yeah, go to Korea. You'll love it. It'll be a great trip, I promise. Well, unless you get lost and eaten by wolves or something like that. Other than that, it's going to be a wonderful trip. Hey, Trogdor. Tragadundides. Tragadundides. Thank you, Tragadundides. Do you have a Korean name? Traga, I can't spell without looking. I think I'm doing okay. It's 23, but not USD. I'll still do 23 dabs. You lose a little bit in the conversion. Traga. Do you prefer just Traga? What is that from? Is that like part of your name? Or is it like a character name or something like that? Okay, I'm going to do some dabs. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Traga. Or now, is it Traga? Traga or Traga? I'm going to guess Traga, but we'll see. Just a warm up for the lesson, yes. Yes, now I'm definitely warmed up now. California, where I'm at, it's like, I don't know, probably 100 degrees outside right now. Fortunately, I have air conditioning, but on top of that, I have like 2 strong lights pointed directly at my face, and my room door is closed, and my computer's on. It can get hot in here if I don't use the air conditioning. Okay. Traga says it's better, even longer than my name, to explain where it comes from. Okay. Well, we'll keep it. All right, then. You keep your secrets. Okay, let's see. How much time do we have left before I'm supposed to? Okay, we have 2 minutes left, and then I have to start the lesson. Do they have wolves in Korea? I assume they do. I mean, at the very least, there's going to be a wolf somewhere at a zoo. This is, if you're wondering what I'm drinking, this is some tea that I got for a Christmas present 4 years ago, I think. It is well expired, but that doesn't mean I can't still drink it. It doesn't have as much flavor as it used to. It used to be more fruity. And now it's just kind of like you boil tree bark, but it's still drinkable. So this is the last kettle that I can make with it. So now it's all finished. Now I have 2 other bags of different types of tea that I also got the same Christmas as gifts. So I'll start going through those next, but now at least one is done. Kind of like woody water. I guess that's the best way to explain it. Like if you were to boil a piece of tree bark, like clean tree bark, boil it, add like, I don't know, like hit it with like rosemary or something, and then that's your tea. It's not great. I can't quite understand why people drink tea. I guess I just want it instead of just drinking water. That's why I'm drinking it. Tori. Hey, Tori. Any tips for someone moving to Korea for the first time? Moving. I'll just say this because I have to start the lesson now. Don't worry about being underprepared. You are not going to be prepared completely. I'll just say that. So release your mind from your worries that you're not prepared to go live in Korea and just accept, yes, you are not prepared. So that's the advice I'll give you. You can't be prepared enough with Korean, with knowing what to do. Just do your best to get as prepared as you can. Research the specific area you're going to. Try to find places that you're going to be doing your laundry, where are you going to get your first few meals, where can you store things, those sorts of basic questions. Just how are you going to make it through the first week? But don't stress too much about everything you're doing. Just it'll happen. It will be okay. CJ. All right, this one donation, then we're going to start the lesson. Thank you, CJ. No dabs, just wanted to support with what I can. Thank you, CJ. Giving my arms a break. Oops. That's supposed to be a 5. That was also supposed to be a 5. You know what? You know what I mean. Thank you, CJ. Wait, let me write the number. 726. Okay. So let's get started with our lesson. The prerequisites for today are that you know how to conjugate verbs, but if you know this prerequisite, you'll also know that anyway. You need to know the future tense already. You should already know how to say I will in Korean. Basically, like 하겠습니다. I will. 가겠습니다. I will go. And then the 것이다 form. 할 거예요. 할 거예요? Will you? 할 거예요. 네, 할 거예요. Yes, I will. You want to know the future tense. Check the donation in a second. And you also want to know about making adverbs, or at least you want to know that this exists, that some adverbs are made by attaching 게 to the verb stem, by taking a descriptive verb and attaching 게. For example, 빠르다, to be quick, you can make it into an adverb by attaching 게 to make 빠르게. Now, of course, there's 빨리, but that's for a separate lesson. I have other lessons about all of these topics, so you can check those out. But these are prerequisites because the form we're going to be learning today is built on top of these. Okay. Camilla Danaher. Hey, thank you. It's Camilla or Camila? I just realized that if it's the double L, if you're Spanish, it should be like the Y, like Yama. Or if it's an English American name, then it would be Camila. I actually don't know. And I'm afraid to ask. But I will give you 4 dabs, Camila or Camilla. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is a live lesson. As you can tell, we're doing it live. So feel free to ask questions about the lesson while we're going along. I'll try to check them every now and then. If I'm going too fast or if I missed something, let me know. I'll make sure to clarify anything. We're going to be learning 2 major forms in this lesson, and they both end with 게 or 게유. And the first one we're going to be learning about is actually one that you might have seen before, and that is where you take an action verb stem. For example, any action, so 하다, to do, 먹다, to eat, 가다, to go. Any of these actions, that would be an action verb. So you take its stem. So 가다 would just be 가. 하다 would be 하. 먹다 would be 먹. Like that. And you attach. And then if it ends in a consonant, you'll attach 을. So 먹다, the stem is 먹, ends in a consonant, 기억, you'll attach 을. So you'll get 먹을. Or if it ends with a vowel, you'll attach a lir. So the verb 가다 ends with a vowel, so you attach lir and you get 갈. Note that if the stem also ends with a lir already, for example, the verb 살다, to live, the stem is 살, so you just get 살. You don't have to do anything else. Then, after you've done this, you attach 게 or 게유 if you're speaking more politely. I got a donation. Let's check that out. I'll leave this up for a second. That's perfect timing for a donation. What is that currency? Shivika. What does anyone know what that currency is? It looks like a rune from like Skyrim or something. Shibika, is that a rune? Am I imbued with powers now? Oh, English pronounce. Okay, Camila. All right, I'm sorry. Rupia? What is rupia? Rupia, is that not rupee? Ah, I see. Okay, so wait, Indonesian rupiah. That can't be rupiah. It's Indian rupee, right? Okay. That's like 50 cents. Cool. All right, I'll do half a dab. Thank you. So that's all you need to know for conjugating it, but there is something else you need to know about how to pronounce it. Now, due to sound change rules, specifically because of this letter, lir, this keo actually gets pronounced as ge or geo. And you might even see people misspelling it that way, native Korean speakers, because it's always said like that. Always. No matter what verb you use, this will be pronounced as ge. So a double consonant. So let me show you an example. Really quick. Hada. The verb stem is ha. It ends in a consonant. Sorry, it ends in a vowel. So we attach a lir, ke, and then maybe you. 할게, 할게요, 할게요. 먹다, because it ends in a consonant. 게요, 먹을게요. You got it? Making this form is quite simple. That's all you have to do. Now, there is a little more you need to know about this form. And I haven't even talked about what this form is. This is used as a... This form has a few uses, which is why I haven't stated exactly what it's used for. But I'll say it is a future tense form. So if you want to write down a note while you're waiting for me to explain it, it's a future tense form. So you're saying, I will do something. This form is used with action verbs, I said, but it's only used with an action verb that's done by the speaker. So what I mean is action verb. It's not used with descriptive verbs. So you're not going to say something like 피곤하다 with this form. 피곤하다 means to be tired. It's not an action. It's a description. Descriptive verb. So you could not say 피곤할게요 or something like that. You can't use it with any descriptions. You also can't use it with a verb that's not done by the speaker, simply an action that happens. I'll give you an example. I try to think of the simplest way that I could explain that. I guess you could use that as an action as well. I could give an example with passive verbs. I don't know if to make it simple, because I don't want to go into passive and intransitive verbs because this is just a beginner level topic. If it's an action that you can do, so you're actually doing something, then it works. If it's an action of simply something happening, like 고장나다, to break. I guess we could use that as an example. 고장나다 is an action verb, something breaks, but it's not an action verb that you do. It's simply something breaks, not that you break it, but it breaks. So you can say 차가 고장났어요. 차가 고장났어요. For example, the car broke down. This is an action, but it's not an action verb that you do. So you can't use these sorts of verbs known as intransitive verbs with this form. So again, just keep in mind, it has to be a verb that you're actually doing and a verb that the speaker is doing. This form is used by the speaker to say, I will do the action verb. I am doing that action. I will do it. It is not used to say you or he or she or they or anything else. It has to be I. So you could not say 할게요 for someone else. That person, they will do it. You cannot use that. 할게요 would 100% always mean I will. So this form is a future tense form that's used only by the speaker to talk about themselves, their own actions. Okay, let me see if I said everything. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Write this down as a note. You'll see this as well. This form is only used as a statement. So a statement means you're just saying something, period. Or maybe you're saying it loud with an exclamation. It is not used, though, as a question. 할게요 doesn't make sense. Remember, it means I will. So I will? It doesn't make any sense. It also doesn't work with any other sorts of suggestion. It also doesn't work as a suggestion, like 할게요, like I will do that. How about I will? It doesn't make any sense. So keep in mind, it's only used as a statement. Most of the time, that'll mean it ends with a period. Okay. Now, what this form is, it's actually used in, the reason that I'm giving you so much information is because I can simplify this form a lot for you, but you can already find simplified lessons of this form. In fact, I have other lessons on my channel that teach a simplified version of this form. The live stream, purpose of the live stream though, is not just to give you a simplified version of a form. In this case, it's a beginner level form, but to give you the full explanation of a form. So by the time this lesson's over, you're not going to simply have heard of this form and be able to use it, but you're going to know everything you possibly need to know about this form, all the way up until like an advanced, super advanced Korean level. So you'll learn everything you need to know about this form. And this is a complicated form. I'm just letting you know. This form has a lot to it, but I'm going to simplify it the best I can. Okay, so this form is used mainly in the following situations. First, this form can be used to say that you, the speaker, I, am going to do something for someone else. Like a favor. For example, if I say 할게요 with 하다, to do, what I'm saying is I will do it. I'll do it. In that sort of nuance. What is that? ARS. Hold on. I got to check ARS first before I get excited. I don't know what ARS. Argentina peso. Okay. It's about $1.50. Thank you. Let me put your name up. I'll just put one for Shivika as well because I couldn't convert that exactly. And thanks for accompanying my path to get a Korean scholarship. Could you make a video telling us which topics we should know to not fail that bad when studying in Korea? Which topics? Have you checked my beginner course? That would be most of the topics for getting started. But if you let me know where you're at, I could suggest other topics to go to. But which topics to study will depend completely on the student. I can't make a video that says you need to know this and this unless you want, I guess you want a general guide for just anyone. It depends what your goal is. So I would need a little more information to make you something like that. But thank you. So the intonation you get with this form, 할게요. It's not I will do it, but it's like, I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. You're telling someone you're doing something for someone else. Tori, I saw another red one. I thought it was another donation by Anne. Tori, wow, thank you so much. Awesome. Can I do 50 quick dabs for you? Let me see if I can do these really quick. Let's cover my screen with everything. Here we go. I think that was 50. Oh, that kind of hurt. I shouldn't do them that fast. Oh. Wow. Okay, that was a workout. Normally the dabs are like, my heart's like racing now. I think that was the fastest I've ever done dabs before. Okay. Wow. Okay, I think 50 is good. Any more than 50 at that speed, I think I'd probably take a break if I kept going past like maybe 60, 70. I think I would need a break because I was doing 50. I'm like, okay. And once I hit 30, I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of tough. Okay. So, and this is the most common basic way to understand this form. In fact, if you only know this, that the form is used kind of like you're doing something for someone else, in almost all cases, well, in most regular cases, you'll be fine. You can understand it. You can use it. Who wants to eat this last slice of pizza? 제가? What would you say? What would you say? I will eat it. How can you say that? Everyone try it in chat. Who's going to eat this slice of pizza? If we don't, we have to throw it away. Please, someone, eat this last slice of pizza. Who will eat it? Step up like Spartacus. 제가? I will eat it. The Flash, yeah. If I go too fast, it's going to reverse time to before I learned Korean. Yes. Oh, Tori, there's no space. There's no space, but yes. I should have mentioned that. I didn't say there is a space, but I also didn't say there isn't a space. So, yeah. 먹을게요. So pronounced is 먹을게요. 제가 먹을게요. I will eat it. Who's going to eat this? 제가 먹을게요. Not just I'll eat it. You could just say 제가 먹을 거예요. But if you just said the future tense, you don't have that intonation of doing something for someone else. So this is in English. You can say, I will eat it. Or you can say, I'll eat it. And you can feel that nuance difference, right? The first one is simply, I will eat it. And the person listening will be like, okay, you will, go ahead. But you could also phrase it like, I'll eat it. And now you have that nuance of you're doing it for someone else. Like, yeah, it's no problem. I'll eat it. Sure, I'll eat it. Who can help me? I'll help you. Versus, I will help you. Right? The second one is the regular future tense. 도와주다, to help. 도와줄 거예요. 제가 도와줄 거예요. Oh, I'm going to help you. Cool. It's correct, but it doesn't have that nuance. 제가 도와줄게요. I'll help you. We do this sort of stuff in English. A lot of stuff that we do in English with our intonation, in Korean is done with grammar. And I've said this before a dozen times, but just keep that in mind. A lot of the intonation differences, a lot of the nuance that we create in English with intonation, in Korean is done through grammar. It's done through particles, markers, different grammar forms. And that can be complicated to understand because you think in English, I will do it is one sentence, right? But in English, you could say it many different ways. You can say, I will do it. 저는 하겠습니다. I don't know why you'd say that, but you could say, I'll do it. 제가 하겠습니다. I'll do it. Or you can say, I'll do it, where you have that up and down, which implies that you're doing it like you'll take care of it. Like, no problem, I'll do it. And that's this form. And then you could say, well, I'll do it, right? You're like, you don't want to, I'll do it. So there are all these different intonation you can put in English that you don't do in Korean, but you can emphasize through grammar forms. Okay. So that's the first one and the main one, but there's another one. In fact, this form actually is not doing a favor for someone. It actually does not mean that you are doing something for someone else. That is simply the common usage of this form. the actual meaning, the literal meaning of this form is different. The literal meaning of this form is when the speaker promises or decides to do something. It has nothing to do with doing a favor or doing something for someone else. It literally just means I decided that I will, or I promised that I will. That's what this form literally means. But its usage tends to be, through this literal meaning, used as a way to do a favor for someone or to say that you'll take care of something. So, I decided that I will, or I promise that I will. That is what this form literally means. In both cases, whether this is used to do a favor or whether it's just being used to say you're making a decision, here's the nuance or the feeling that this form gives. Don't worry because I'm going to do something, which is the same nuance that you get in English if you say, I'll do it. It's kind of like, not just that I will do it, but yeah, don't worry, I'll do it. I'll do it. So this is the nuance that you get when you use this form. However, doesn't always have to be, but it's a nuance that you can give. Another nuance that this form can give is if someone says something, and if you reply with this form, literally you're saying, I have decided that I will do something. So let's say they ask you a question. Well, what will you do? I have decided that I will do something. This could be like, hey, don't worry, I'll do something. But it could also just be in response to what they said, you are saying, in response to what you said, I will So in response to you, I will go there. I will do it. I will see. I will eat it. Whatever. And there are many ways you can translate this form into English using different nuance or different grammar. But ultimately, the form is just to show something that you have decided. So, who will eat this pizza? Who will pizza? It's not Little Caesars. Who will eat this piece of pizza? This last piece. You can say, don't worry, I'll eat it. Or you can say, well, in response to your question, I will eat it. So you're acknowledging something someone else said and then providing what you're going to do. So that's really what this form is used for. I'll eat it. Or as a favor, I'll eat it for you. Yeah, don't worry, I'll eat it for you. So there are many ways you can translate this, but at its core, it's for making a decision, stating that you have made a decision and saying what you will do, what you have decided to do. Okay, so that is everything you need to know about how to use this form, what it means, exceptions. Now let's do some example sentences. No, I take it back. You are going to do an example sentence. I want you to say, I want you to answer. A Korean person goes up to you, well, your friend is, they're your friend and they say, hey, I need to buy, 사다 is to buy. I need to buy soap. I smell. But I didn't bring my money. And you're at the store with your friend right now. You're at the store. So they're like, 집에 놓고 왔어요. I left my wallet at my house. I forgot my wallet. 이거 사야 되는데. I have to buy this. I have to buy 이 비누 사야 되는데. 냄새 나거든요. I really smell. 어쩌지? What do I do? And you're going to tell your friend, I will buy it. So, in response to what you said, I will buy it. Or, don't worry because I'm going to buy it. Or, I'll buy it. Either way, however you want to translate it, make that sentence. I see a couple of people already have. Eva LaFay, this one is not 요구 because 요구 shows an intention, something that you are intending to do. This one is simply more about the decision to do something, that you've decided to do something. It's not about showing someone, just saying that you're going to do something. Because that one doesn't have the feeling of making any promise or making a decision. Yes, several examples. Maya has a really great short answer. 내가 살게. Perfect. I'll buy it. 제가 살게요. Perfect, Tori. 내가 살게. Yes, Traga. Do we have other variations about that? Hope Gate wrote, no, you buy it, but that doesn't work. It cannot be. Oh, I think it's just a typo. 네 for me, for 내가, would be ai as the spelling. So not the stick coming out, but the stick in the middle. 제가 갈게요. I'll go. Okay. The sentence works. It's not the sentence we're using here, but 제가 이 비누를 살게요. Perfect lexica. Very long sentence. I'll buy you this soap. Sure, it works. Fancy. Extra points. It's like doing a promise to the listener. Yeah. It's just you're responding to something and you're saying your decision. But it can, because that doesn't really make any sense in English, I'm trying to give you a different way to look at it. 제가 살게요. I 살게요. Hey, don't worry, I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I've decided I'm going to buy it. 제가 살게요. Next one. I'll do this one. 조심하다. 조심하다 is actually an action verb, and it means to be careful. So, hey, your mom keeps telling you, like, don't go on that roller coaster ride. It's already killed 500 people today. But you're like, don't worry, Mom. I'll be careful. Actually, I need more space to be polite. 조심. 조심할게요. 조심할게요. In response to what you said, I will be safe. I've decided I'm going to be safe. So don't worry, I'm going to be safe. I'll be safe. 조심할게요. I'll be safe. Okay, I want you to do this next one. Hey, I'm actually going to leave first. Notice that in all these sentences, you can hear this, I'm actually going to leave first. You can hear this intonation, and that's, I don't want to say it's going to be in every sentence, but it's a common feature when you translate it to English speaking, that you get that sort of feeling with this form. So I'm going to leave first, okay? How would you say that? I'll give you a word if you don't know it. If you already know it, you know it. But if you don't, 먼저 is an adverb that means first. So 먼저 하다 is to do something first. 제가 먼저 했어요. I did it first. So I'm now I want to say, oh, I'm going to leave first. So I'm going to leave first. So if you're going to take off, your friends are like, hey, we're going to go hang out and go get a second dinner or something like that. And we're going to go party. We're going to watch a movie, whatever. But you're tired. So you're like, hey, you know what? In response to what you said, I'm just going to go first. So actually, I decided I'm going to go first. Okay, I'll leave a couple seconds for see who else wants to try. Tori also tried the 조심할게요. Nice. 마야, 제가 먼저 갈게요. Perfect. 제가 먼저 갈게요. Yes, Lexica. 제가 먼저. Oh, Tori, you just have the verb in here for go first. 가다. Traga has 제가 먼저 갈게요. 제가 먼저 갈게요. 나 먼저 갈게. 나 먼저 나갈게. Nice. 아예 같아. That works. 나가다 would be if you're leaving somewhere. Not just that you're going, but you're leaving. Like out of somewhere. That also works. Okay. So, if you're leaving first, 먼저 갈게요. Like, hey, I decided actually I'm going to go. So you're saying I decided. Now, if you only thought of this form as being used for making favors, you might not understand this sort of usage. But you still could kind of think about it like, well, maybe I'm leaving for the other people to allow them to have a fun time. Okay, it kind of works. But it actually is just for making a decision. So you're saying, I've decided I'm going to go first. It's like, hey, you go on ahead. 전 먼저 갈게요. I'm just going to be leaving. I'm just going to go first. 먼저 갈게요. $5.30. Okay. I'll take a picture for you. I'm not going to tell you anything for this. You see some people struggling to take a photo and they're like holding their phone. They can't get themselves in the shot. They're trying to get the background. They keep moving around, checking their camera settings. They put it on a tripod and it falls over into the dirt. So you want to be nice. You want to be the nice guy. So you walk up. You're like, hey, I'll take a picture for you. You know what? I decided I'm going to take your picture. How would you say that? 제가 사진을 찍을게요. Yes. Nice. Nice, Traga. Very fast, too. Let's see. 마이야, 제가 사진 찍어줄게요. Nice. Okay, I'm just going to check a couple other responses. 찍어줄게요. 찍어드릴게요. Nice. 드릴게요 is even better. But you don't have to, but yeah, that's a little bit nicer. 제가 사진을 찍을게요. 사진을 찍어줄게요. 찍을게요. Nice, nice. I love this. I didn't even tell you what to say. I didn't even give you a word. And many of you already have the answer or various answers, which is great. You don't have to get one way of saying it. You can change it depending on the situation. Lexica. 제가 사진을 찍을... Oh, small typo with the letter that's supposed to be doubled. It would be the 지읒. But yes, your sentence is correct. Nice. Let me give you one more here. So we start with 제가, I am. You don't have to. I'm just doing that for the sentence. Actually, I'll just remove it. Who needs it? 사진을 찍어 줄게요. Or it could just be 찍을게요. Or 찍어 드릴게요. Like someone else had. However you want to say it. 사진을 찍어 줄게요. So, 찍어 주다 is to take a picture for someone. 찍어 줄게요. Hey, I decided I'm going to take your picture. I'll take it for you. Notice we still get that intention. I'll take the photo. 사진을 찍어 줄게요. So, I'll take a picture for you. And then they would say, oh, thank you. You know, and you take the picture and leave. Okay. Last one for this form, because that's really all there is to it. Last sentence. I will teach you Korean. If that's too long for you, try to make the sentence, I will teach you. I'll teach it. I'll teach. Like that. That's okay. If you can just use one verb, it's fine. Then you still got the concept as long as you can do that. Yeah, you want to say it to some Korean people in Paris? Well, now you can. And then they'll say, oh, you speak good Korean. 100%. I guarantee you they're going to say that. What's the difference between 찍을게요? Well, that's just the verb 찍다. Like, I'll take it for you. Same thing. 찍어주다. 주다 is instead of you. Like, I'll take it for you. Literally, quite meaning I'll do it as a favor for you. 찍어주다. So, 찍을게요 simply is like, I'll take it for you. I'll take your picture. Versus 찍어줄게요 is like, I'll take your picture for you. It just adds in that feeling that it's being done as a favor. Definitely as a favor with 주다. Like that's when you say 찍어주세요. Like please take it for me. Literally 주다 is to give. So 찍어주다 is to take a picture as a gift. So I will take it for you versus I will take it. But they both work. 제가 찍을게요. Like I'll take it. I'll take it for you. It's just a slightly different nuance. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, first up, 트라가 제가 한국어를 가르쳐 줄게요. Perfect. 렉시카 제가 한국어를 가르칠게요. Perfect. 제가 한국어를 가르쳐 줄게요. Nice, Maya. Tori, 한국어를 가르칠게요. Perfect. All of you got perfect sentences, and they're different, which is completely fine because there is no one way that you could say this. Just like there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, there's no wrong way to make this sentence. Oh, actually, no, there's a lot of wrong ways. You could spell it wrong. But there's no one way to make a Korean sentence. Okay, let's see what the other answers we have. 안에기, 테니까 is a different form, as well as 텐데. Those forms are for making assumptions. I have a separate live stream about those as well. You can check them out in the... I have a Google document I linked in the chat. You can check them out there. 제가 한국어로 가르칠게요. So that, Emily Richards, that would be, I will teach you in Korean, which is also a perfect sentence. Okay, so let me give you one. Let's see. I 한국어를 Korean 가르치다, to teach. 제가 한국어를 가르쳐 드릴게요. So I will teach you. 드리다 is just the humble version of 주다, but same meaning. I will do it for you. I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to teach Korean for you. That sort of feeling. 제가 한국어를 가르쳐 드릴게요. So I'll teach you Korean. We still get that intonation. I'll teach you Korean. And again, my way is not the only way. You can write this sentence probably a dozen other ways at least and still get correct answers. Okay, so that's really all you need to know about this form. Now, I said when I started teaching it, this form has a lot to it. And now you can see why I said that. But at its core, it is just for saying you decide to do something. So I decided that I will do this. But its uses are typically to respond to someone like, hey, you said something, so I decided I'm going to do this. Or I decided I'm going to do this and I'm letting you know because I'm doing it for you. So it has those different nuances. Okay. Our second form looks a lot like our first form, but is different. You take an action verb stem, just like before, and then you attach ke or keo. But there is no or lir added here. You simply take the verb stem and you attach keo, and you're done. It looks very similar, but it's different. For example, the verb 하다, 하게 or 하게요. 주다, 주게요. That's it. And no matter what tense, you can also use this action verb stem in other tenses, in the past tense, for example, if you know how to make that. It's always just this. So it's very simple to conjugate. So this form is used often when you're asking someone who's talking with you for more information about something that they've told you. So they might tell you something, blah, 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 blah. And then you would ask using this form. So this form is used as a question. You would ask for more information about it. Something, 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 KO. What this form is, okay, so that's typically how this form gets used. But now let's talk about its literal meaning. Just like before, the previous form's literal meaning was saying that you've decided or you're promising to do something. This form's literal meaning is to ask someone their intentions. If you're familiar with the ryogo form, this form has a similar usage as that one. Intending to. So, it's a question form. It's used to ask someone what their intentions are, and it's usually used when you're asking someone what their intentions are because you want more information about what they said. So, you've just said this. Are you planning on doing this? Are you going to do this? Or will you do this? You're asking their intentions, typically based on something that they previously said. Okay, so again, you're asking someone their intentions. This form is not used, well, okay, I don't want to say, there's another level to this form we'll talk about at the end, but for right now, that's enough. Okay, and that's all you need to know about this form, but I will add, often this form gets used with honorific speech. Now, it doesn't have to be. You can take the verb hada and ask someone something, something, hage, hageo, good. But it tends to more often get used with honorific speech. So instead of hageo, you'll more often hear hashigeyo from hashida, the honorific version of hada. So just keep that in mind. It tends to get used in honorific speech to sound more polite. If you don't use it in honorific speech, it doesn't sound rude, but it just tends to get used more often in polite speech. Okay, I'm leave this up for a second, and then we're going to do some example sentences. Papugeo. Nope, papugeo is not an action verb. That would just be the adverb. There is the form just ke after a descriptive verb, not yo, but that would be an adverb. And I have a separate lesson about that if you'd like to learn. But that's not for today's lesson. This is the ke yo form. Okay. Why can't I be? Is there something? Oh, maybe it's just your app. I can see everything fine. I see you here. Okay. So that's really all there is to it. Let me give you an example. Actually, no, that's not all there is to it, but that's all there is to it for right now. But don't worry, there's nothing else complicated coming up. I'll also say this form when used like this isn't that common compared to other forms. Yep. Okay. For example, 뭐 하시게요? You can think of it as 뭐 해요, literally, but it's used for asking someone's intentions. So, what are you planning on doing? So, what are you doing? Or what are you going to do? 뭐 하시게요? You could also ask 뭐 하시려고요? 뭐 하시려고요? With the 려고 form. And it has a similar meaning in this case. But again, this form is often used when you're asking someone for more information. So you're not just randomly saying, what are you planning to do? But it's like, so, what are you planning to do? So it has kind of the feeling of adding so based on what you've said, or in response to what you've said. What are you planning on doing? 뭐 하시게요? Okay. So, what are you going to do? 주무시다 is the honorific version of 자다, to sleep. 잠자다. You can say 주무시다. 지금 주무시게요? So, are you planning on going to sleep? So, are you planning on going to bed now? Are you planning to sleep now? So you're saying it like you've heard something that they've said. Maybe they say they're really tired. And now in response to that, now you're going to ask them for more information about what they said. So, 지금 뭐 하시게요? Sorry, not what are you doing now? 지금 주무시게요? Are you going to sleep now? Is that what you're intending to do? Is that what you're going to do? So, are you intending to sleep now? Again, this form isn't super common, but you will see it. At least in this form. So let me rewrite this part. 공부는, your studies, 언제, when, 언제 하게? 공부는 언제 하게? So, when are you planning on doing your studies? 언제 하게? When are you planning on doing your studies? 공부는 언제 하게? So, when are you going to study? As in, I've heard what you said, and then I want more information about what you've said. So, can you clarify? Are you planning on studying? Like that sort of, when are you planning on studying? 공부는 언제 하게? Okay, now we're doing good on time. So, that's not the only way this form is used. That's one way. And in fact, that way that I just showed you, 개요, that form I just gave you is actually more of an intermediate form. So if you're a beginner and you've been taking notes, fold that paper up, put it away in your desk. You can look at it later. Just have it in the back of your notes, but you don't need to use it right now. It's not a beginning level form. But conjugating it is very simple. So that's why I threw it in here. There is one more way that this form is used in the same conjugation. This form can also be used as a statement. That means not a question. So I showed you how you use this form as a question to ask someone what their intentions are. But if you see it without a question mark, it is not that form. It is this form. Probably. Maybe. Actually, I take it back. Could be another form. I'll tell you about that next. Okay. If you see it without a question mark, it might be this form, which is a playful and casual, not formal, casual way of asking someone to take a guess. So, hey, let me write one down. 누구게? 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 So, what does this mean? Can you guess what this means? Maya asks, how does this differ from using the Leo form? Leo is the same, well actually no, Leo has the same embedded meaning of intention as yogo, which as I mentioned is not the same as this form. But it is literally, you could translate as this form and it'll at least make sense. But that form doesn't have the added nuance that you're asking someone for more information on something. It simply is asking someone directly what they're going to do, what their intentions are. Whereas this one has more of like the so form. Anyway, yeah, guess who it is? Guess who? Yeah, guess who? 누구? Who? And then in this case, you just see K. Why do you just see K? That's because the verb here would be ida, to be. But E and ida often goes away when it's followed by a vowel. In this case, ku, u ends in a vowel. So it would just be 누구게 or 누구게요. But 누구게. 누구게. Who is it? As in, 누구게, guess who? What about this one? And we can add a question mark on there too. 뭐 살게? 뭐 살게? This is a past tense verb stem. I'll just say that. Yeah, traga. That's right. 누구겠어 is a different form. Who could it be? 누구겠어. Like, who could it be? Of course, it's me, or of course it's that person. Or who could it, really just who could it be? I don't know. Yeah. 뭐 살게? Hey, guess what I bought? 뭐 살게? Guess what I bought? Yeah. So this form is also used playfully and casually to ask someone to take a guess. Instead of asking them as a question, you're more just saying it. Like, 뭐 살게? Ha ha ha. And then they might say, 뭐 샀어? Did you buy something? Anyway, so 뭐 살게? Guess what I bought? Like that. And then you show them the limited edition autographed Star Trek thermometer that you bought, or like whatever. That's not the point. Okay. So those are two ways to use this KO form. There's one more. There's this. It's in a beginner lesson. I'm trying to keep this as simple as I can because I want to make sure you get it even if you're a beginner. I want to make sure you get this. Do not write this down if you're a beginner. Well, I recommend you don't. hagete is an archaic speech level. As in, you're not going to hear it anymore. You don't need to know it. But if you ever watch historical dramas in Korea known as 사극 or 사극 drama, you'll hear old style Korean. Some. This keo ending, or specifically this ke ending, used to be a casual command form. Which is probably why it's used today as a playful way for asking someone to make a guess. You're actually commanding them to make a guess playfully. But it used to be a casual command. So you're telling someone do something, but in kind of a friendly, casual way, like you would tell a friend or someone below you. The way it works is you take an action verb stem and you attach ke, just like before. You also might see ke na, which is even more friendly sounding. But that's it. So if you have the verb hada, hage, means do it. Do it. Kada, kage, go. So it's not a mean, authoritative command like be gone, but it's more like get out of here. Come on, do it. hage, 도와주게, help me. Come on. Or hagena, hey, help me. Or do it. So na just makes it more friendly sounding. That's it. So this would have been an older form. You don't need it. You don't want to say it. Don't tell your friends. Also kage. Hurry and go forth. Like also nagage. Like it just sounds, I mean, unless you want to talk like you're from some ancient text or from a historical drama, and which in that case, go ahead. Sure, it's fine. It'll be funny. But don't use it as a regular funny command. It'll just sound awkward. It'll sound like you didn't properly learn Korean if you use this form. But just know that's what it means. So it originally was a casual command for the old form known as 하겠지. Okay. There's one more thing I want to mention. 그러게요 is just 그러게요. In case you were already wondering, before you ask, this means, yes, I agree in response to what you said. Like, yeah, I agree. But this form is just this form. You don't need to worry about where this is. It's just its own thing. Okay, in case you're wondering if that's part of the same form. Yes and no, it's just its own thing. All right, that is all of the lesson I had for you today. I apologize, the second half was a little bit more complicated than the first half, but at least if you get the first form, 할게요, 먹을게요, 갈게요, with the lir in it, that form, that's the most important. That one's used all the time. Paulina, Carolina, if you came now, yes, you are very late. Traga, if it's casual speech, there would be no yo. That's correct. In fact, in the old 하겠지, it wasn't, the yo form wouldn't have been put in there anyway. That's a... Using that nowadays is a more modern change, I believe. They had different forms back then. There are like 7 major politeness levels, and of those, 3 of them aren't really used outside of like really older people and then Korean dramas. Yeah, so questions. I'll take questions now, feedback, either about the lesson or just about Korean in general. And then I'll do some last minute announcements. Oh, I will make one announcement. There's no live stream next Sunday, but there will be 2 in a row from the Sunday after that. So we are back in schedule. Just pretend that I did one last week and that next week we're taking a break. And if you're ever curious about the schedule, just check out the Google document, which I will link here again in the chat. And that has all of the live streams and future live streams listed. So you can always find out when is the next one and what it's about. Okay, any questions? Oh, and one more before you go, I also say special thanks again. Stella's mom, Traga, CJ, Camila, Shivika, and Tori. Special thanks for your help. It does donations, Patreon, all that stuff goes directly into my wallet. It supports me to go to Korea, which is very expensive, to buy my lights, my equipment, to pay my bills, to eat. Yeah, even the pickle and what else was it? Pickle and salami salad that I made with my kid this morning, even that was paid for by donations. And it tasted a little bit better than it sounds. Aniki says, can you recommend some variety shows? I don't watch any variety shows, so I cannot recommend variety shows. I watch 0. But you could probably ask that in my Discord channel, where there are lots of people. Let's see if I got these here. Discord, where is Discord? Oh, there we go. You could check it out in my Discord channel. I'm sure people there can recommend you variety shows. Just I don't watch TV. Let's see, Lexica said, thanks for the lesson. Great to have you back. It's good to be back. I miss Korea. I miss Korean food. I don't miss the Korean weather, I'll say. I like my California weather with air conditioning. That's one thing that if you live in Korea, you'll find that the energy bills in Korea are much higher than electricity in the US. And it might be the same in other countries too. But in the US, our electricity, I'd say, is fairly affordable in not everywhere, but in most places. And if you run the air conditioning reasonably, not too cold, but you have it on all day so that it just doesn't get hot. You just make it so it's like maximum warm, but you have it on all the time. You're not going to be paying more than maybe 100, depending on where you're living, 50, 100, or 200 bucks a month, somewhere in there, depending on where you live. Maybe more if you're in like center New York area or something. maybe it's 300, but it's livable. You can do it. In Korea, though, that's not, you can't do that. It would be too expensive. Most buildings, most homes, most apartments don't have what we know as central air conditioning or central heating. It's a per room basis to save electricity. So you're in your room. Why do you need to cool the entire house, right? The problem, though, is you want to go to the bathroom in the middle of the day and it's like scorching hot in your house, but your room's nice and cool. So you leave your room and you go out to the bathroom and it's like you're like sweating in the bathroom. It's really uncomfortable. You go back to your room and it's nice again. I do not miss that part about Korea. I like that anywhere I go in my apartment, it's the same temperature. Yes, I know it's a little wasteful, but I like air conditioning. Shima says, in some sentences, I find the verb in plain form. Oh, yeah, I have a whole lesson about plain form. If it's used, it can be used in casual speech simply as like an announcement, like, I'm going to do this. Just like you're announcing it, as if you're just stating it in front of everyone who's listening. It could also be used as part of quoting form. So I'd have to see the sentence to tell you whether it's being used as a quote or as a casual announcement, but it's probably one or the other. Jonathan says, I want to say thanks for making these videos. I've been learning Korean for 3 weeks. Welcome. Yay, 3 weeks. You're in the beginning. You're like a little Korean learning baby. I used to be there. I remember when I'd been learning Korean for 3 weeks. Yeah, I can clearly remember my first few weeks of learning Korean. And it was really fun. It's still fun, but it was also fun then. It takes a long time, so don't rush. But yeah. Camila asks, how slowly is too slowly to read webtoons? Nah, there's no such thing. But you might want to find different webtoons if you feel like you're going too slow. Let's see. For example, this is not an advertisement. I don't get paid by anyone to say anything I do. At least not yet. Maybe someday I'll get a sponsor, but I don't have any. This webtoon or book or whatever, Omurice Jemjem. So Omurice Jemjem is the name of the series. And I'd say it's intermediate level at best. It's just like cute stories about cooking recipes, cooking food for family members, and like adding different ingredients or like recipes gone wrong. And it's just kind of like a cute book. I don't know. It's pretty easy. Just try to find something that's easy to read, because you might have found a webtoon that's made for adults or made for like teenagers or a specific age group, and it could be written really hard to read. Find something that you find you can actually kind of enjoy and kind of follow along. And with webtoons, that's not a problem. There are thousands. Just keep looking. Paulina, question? Did you ask a question? What question? Can you say it again? It's already gone off my screen. Lauren Eats Dinosaur says, if I had a partner called Jib, Nolan, you are my Jeep. You're my Jeep. Yeah, you could. I mean, if there was a Korean named Jeep or your partner was Jeep, you could say you are my house, I guess. I don't think it would be very funny. You might want to say 우리 집이야, 우리 집. Like when you introduce them to your friends, it would be funny to say 우리 집이야. Because like 우리 집 is used for like our house, like this is my house, like welcome to my house, 우리 집이요. But you could say it's my 집. 우리 집. I think that would be funny. Let's see. I think if it's an actual person. Okay, I didn't know if it was hypothetical. Yeah, I think when you introduce him to other people, you can say 우리 집이에요. I think that would be funny. Is it common to skip ko in quoting? Yeah, all the time. So it's a little bit less clear. It sounds like you're being more colloquial. So you wouldn't write it necessarily. You could write it, but you wouldn't necessarily write it that way, because it could look like you've ended your sentence and that you're being impolite. But when speaking, they'll know that you haven't finished speaking yet, so it's fine. Like, 어디 갔다고 했어요. 어디 갔다 했어요. They're both fine. Of them, though, I would say 갔다고, using 고 is going to be more common. But if you're trying to speak fast, 어디 갔다 했다? Like he said he went somewhere, and then it's easier to do it without. But same meaning, doesn't change the meaning, just makes it sound a little bit less formal, a little bit less stiff, I guess. Not in a good way, but like in a I'm caring less about what I'm speaking sort of way. Okay, let's see a few more questions. I can take questions for about 10 minutes, and then I'll take off. Again, there's no live stream next week, but there is the 2 weeks after that. And you can check the Google document for what the topic's going to be and when it's going to be. Let's see. I have a question. What's the difference between kesso and 나보다? I would watch my separate live stream about 나보다 and 가보다 because that's a huge topic. The 보다 is for guessing. Like, oh, I guess it will be. And 겠다, kesso would be when you're making a supposition. You're supposing something. You're assuming, almost assuming, but you're saying, oh yeah, it would be that way, right? Not, I think maybe, I don't know, guessing, not guessing, but like, I think it is. You're supposing it is. So it's a stronger conviction. But if it's used as a question, then it's asking would or could. So would it be? Could it be? 뭐겠어? Okay, let's see any other questions. 우리 집이야. Yeah. Or 우리 집이에요, depending on who you're introducing him to. But if you're talking directly to him, you could say 너가 우리 집이야. 너가 내 집이야. You could say it like that, but I think you would need a specific context to make it funny. Like when you're introducing him to other people, and if you're already talking about the name, then you can bring it in. Like jokes aren't something that you just throw it out and you've said a joke. It has to be in context. I happen to be pretty good at bad dad jokes because my mentor is Hyunwoo. Talk to me in Korean. He's my mentor, so I learned dad jokes specifically to bug him. So yeah, I wouldn't just throw it out there because it might be kind of vague. Like he might not get it, but in context, it could be pretty funny. Oh, Nick Dance says, you're new here. I would check out the Discord channel. I'll link that in the chat. That's where you can go to practice others who are learning Korean. There are other Discords as well. I happen to have one. You can find others as well on the internet. But I would recommend Discord. Omurice Jam Jam. That's right, Lexica. By Cho Kyung-gyu. Okay. Yeah. Paulina says, 절대는 결코. 절대 is the one you want. If you're asking difference as in which one should I use, 절대 is the one. That's like never, would never, that sort of 절대 안 할 거야. I'm never going to do that like that. Okay. Let me see if I missed any other questions. Andrea says, I'm planning on moving to South Korea in the future. Your little remarks about what life is like there, even if it's hot, make me so happy. Yeah. So right now it's summer in Korea, and anyone who's in Korea now knows it's very humid. In fact, I am, as a California boy, my body is used to semi-dry weather. It's not completely dry like Arizona or other states, but it's quite dry. And when I'm in Korea, I've gotten used to it. I've gotten much better at it than I used to be. But still, I don't enjoy humid weather. My body feels hot, even when it's cool, if it's humid. My body just feels like humid equals uncomfortable, even if the weather's cool. Like the weather could be really hot or nice and cool, but if it's humid, my body thinks, oh, I hate it all. There are some ways to manage that, though. I'll give you a tip if you're living in Korea and you don't like the weather, you think it's too hot in the summer. Drink copious amounts of water, more water than you feel like you should. You have water and you're like, okay, I'm good. No, you're not. Have another 2 cups of water. Have so much water that you're just full of water and keep it that way. Because when your body has so much extra water, the only thing it can do with it is just sweat it out, especially if it's hot. It'll just sweat all of it out and that'll make you feel really cool. Because your body's like sweating out and then, it hits the wind. It's what Koreans would refer to as 시원하다. Like, it's so cool. Even when you're eating something that's hot on a hot day, it helps your body sweat and kind of cools you a little bit. But drink tons of water. It doesn't even have to be cold water. Just drink tons of water. Yeah, just know that Korea is very hot in the summer and humid. So the months of July and August, I would say, are the worst. June is kind of hot, but it's not that bad. You'll still be fine. But once it's like July, August, you really don't want to go. You really don't want to be hanging out outside too much. And then in contrast, December, January, February, March are really cold. And of those, January, February are freezing. So you have to bring as many, bring like a thick coat, like two shirts, 2 pairs of socks, long pants, earmuffs, a hat, scarf, thick gloves, like everything. And you're still going to be cold. You're still going to hate life while you're there during the winter. So just expect it. Oh, Trega asks a good question. In Korean, between friends, is it common to ask, how are you, like in English? No, I actually made a Korean FAQ video all about this topic. I think I've uploaded it already. And it is how to say, how are you? And the trick is you don't. You don't ask someone, how are they doing, unless you mean, it's been so long, how have you been? So you do ask people, how have you been? But you do not ask people, how are you doing so much? Because when you ask someone, 어떻게 지내요? How are you doing? It sounds like not how are you right now, but how have you been since the last time I saw you? It has a feeling of we haven't met in a long time. How are you doing overall? And it's more of a personal question. It's not something you just throw out to people who you know. It's actually more personal, like, hey, how have you been doing? Like that. So I wouldn't recommend using it very much, especially to your friends, unless, like I say, you've seen them, you meet them and you haven't met them in a long time. Then you can say, 잘 있었어? 잘 지냈어요? 잘 지냈어? Like, how have you been? Have you been good? All that. That's fine. But if you're just seeing your friend and you meet him again like a week later, you don't want to ask him, how are they doing? You just say, 안녕. 왔어? You're here. 오다, to come. 왔어? You came? You came here? Like, you're here. It's kind of like how we would say, oh, hey, what's up? Even though we're not really asking what's up. We're just saying, oh, hey, like, I see you here. What's up? In Korean, they would say, oh, you came here? 왔어? Like that. Or 왔어요? Like that. My teacher asks me that every lesson. Your teacher is just getting you to talk. Your teacher is just trying to get you to talk. It's okay. Just know that Koreans will not do that to other Koreans typically, because it does have the feeling of like, tell me, how have you been? Versus in English, we just use, hey, how are you doing? As a greeting. We don't even care what they answer, really. And oftentimes, maybe most times, we don't really want to know. Like if you ask the cashier who's bagging your groceries, they're like, hey, how's it going? Do you want to be like, miserable? Miserable. My girlfriend broke up with me. And I got fired from my job. And my kids hate me. Like, do you want to say that to the cashier? Like, no, you're like, pretty good. How about you? And then in their shoes, they're like, I've been working here for 8 hours today. I want to go home. My feet hurt. My dog's sick. I have to, go home at 11 tonight, but I have to come in early tomorrow. Like, they're just going to be like, oh, I'm doing great, right? Like, you don't want to know the answer. You don't care when you ask, how's it going? But in Korean, asking someone, how are they doing, isn't like that. It's actually just literally, how have you been doing? Are you doing okay? Tell me how you are doing. So just keep that in mind. It's not wrong to use it, but know that the nuance of it is actually asking them how they're doing. Yeah. Like, no, really, how are you? That's right. That's right. Like, you can say, hey, how's it going? Pretty good. Like, no, really? Like, really? And then they'd be like, actually, it's been okay. Or not so good. And we have different culture for that in English, but in Korean, they don't do that sort of thing. They don't open up to strangers like we do in American culture. It's just it's a more conservative culture over there. So you will meet people who have more of a Western thinking or mentality, but in general, it's more conservative. People are not open, what they would call open-minded, but it's really, they're just not open to discussing their feelings directly with a stranger. Like the French, oui, ça va? Ah, oui, ça va. Ça va et tout? Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm good. You? Like, no, you don't really want to say. Pas bien. Très mal. It's very bad. Yeah, you don't really expect an honest answer to that. But in Korean, it would be, like if you were to ask someone, how are they doing? I think they might be taken back a bit and they'll think for a second. And then they still might not want to tell you how they're doing. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm okay. Like, just because they want to avoid the question. In Poland, we always say it honestly. We love to complain. You would fit in still. Although I said Koreans are very conservative. When you make friends in Korea, however, you get a friend in Korea, you can get away with a lot of stuff, like personal talk, just like you could in the US in some cases. So I think you'll fit in fine with that. And in some ways, even more so. I don't like stereotyping Korean people, because Korean people there are many types of Korean people. And if I say, oh, Koreans are conservative, that's not really true. In general, Koreans are conservative, but not everyone. Obviously, there are going to be some Koreans that you would think grew up in the US just because of their lifestyle or their friends or the way they were, anything. In general, though, they're very conservative, but you might meet some people who are very open, like in the US, and that's normal. Generally, though, I will say, again, this is a stereotype, but it's generally true. In the US, I've found that people like to connect. When you connect with each other, we like to connect over things that are positive. So things that are good that happened in your life. We like to brag as other people might see. Like, how are you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. I just did this. I got a promotion. Yeah, I just met my friend. Oh, yeah, I'm just picking up some ingredients to make a pizza. Fun stuff, positive stuff. That's how we enjoy interacting with other people. Generally, right? If you meet a friend, you can have terrible things in your life too, but you like to connect by sharing things that are going well. Like, yeah, I got that going for me. You do the whole thing like, yeah, this happened. Yeah, no, that's not good, but this happened. Well, at least we like to stay positive about things. In Korea, if you meet someone and they go to the same class as you, you'd be like, oh yeah, like, oh man, they have the best tacos at the restaurant. Have you been to that one? Oh yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Oh, do you know this teacher? Oh yeah, I was friends with that teacher. He's weird. Yeah. But that teacher was so funny. Or did you know it's always like positive, fun, interesting things is what I'll say. In general, we like that. In Korea though, that's not seen as good, typically. Generally, always saying these sorts of positive things can be seen in general as if you were bragging. And that's not to say that everyone's going to look down on it, but things that we would consider to be like friendly can be seen as bragging, like you're trying to look better than you are. Even if it's honest, it can be seen as bragging. So that's why when Koreans compliment your Korean, they say, "Oh, 한국말 너무 잘하시네요. 정말 원어민인 줄 알았어요. Like I thought you were a foreigner. I thought you were a native speaker." These are just things that they say. They don't really mean them, but they say them because they want to be polite and because they're so surprised to hear Korean. That's the only reaction they can give you. But your reaction to that should never be, "Oh, yeah, thank you." Because it kind of sounds like now you're bragging. Like, "Oh no, you should reply more conservatively." Like, "Oh, thank you for the compliment. I'm still 아직 부족한 점이 많이 있어요. 아직 부족하다고 생각해요. I still think I'm not good enough yet." Like you should reply with something or just 아니에요 or no, I'm not. Some sort of response that shows that you're thanking them but you're not accepting it, because if you were to accept that compliment, that's bragging. So this is a general Korean thing. Now on the other side of that, in general, Koreans tend to like to bond with each other over things that are negative. And we might see that in a Western culture as they're being negative. They're not looking on the bright side, but that's just what they like. They might like to become friends based on hating the same person or disliking the same experience or being unhappy in a certain situation. Like, oh, you went to that school. Oh, I went to that school too. Man, they have like the worst food there, don't they? Or that's the worst program for this or something like that. Or, hey, you work at that company? I worked at that company too. Oh man, that break room only had like one snack. Like, oh, it was terrible. Or I hated that boss. Didn't you? Yeah. It's just a different style of thing that our cultures like to connect over. And it's not something I realized for years of studying Korean. And I only recently, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, a friend actually told me this and it all clicked, that Korean people generally tend to connect over things that we might think of as being more negative. And Westerners or foreigners, Americans, we like to connect over things that Koreans might see as kind of bragging almost. Like, it's just different things. So just be aware of that you might meet someone and you might think, oh, they're not very friendly or as open as I was hoping. They could be. They just don't want to connect with you the way you're trying to connect with them. They might not want to talk about always good things. Like if you're meeting them and you're like, oh yeah, I just got accepted to the school. Great, cool, that's fine. But then the next day you meet, oh yeah, I just got best grade. I got the top grade in the class. Okay. Oh yeah, I just got a girlfriend. Oh yeah, I just got a promotion. Oh yeah. And then they're going to kind of feel like, well, what about me? Now I feel like you're bragging all the time. And you might kind of have some jealousy there. They might kind of feel like, they don't match. They want to talk about their life, which might not be as cool as yours. And they might feel bad about that. Even if you would point out, well, you had this and you had this and you had this, they might not see it that way. So you might have these sorts of discrepancies in relationships with Koreans and Americans or, Westerners, I'll say, that are just from cultural differences, not that this person's happy and this person's sad, just that they express themselves and they prefer different types of expression. So they have different ways of expressing themselves. Sorry, I know I'm rambling a bit. Hopefully to one person that made sense at least. Okay, I'll take just one more question, then I should go for today. Okay, let's see. Let's skip this one. Omer asks, ways to improve pronunciation. You won't be able to pronounce it natively after only 1 year, so don't worry about that. Native is very high level, but generally for improving pronunciation, you need to be listening to more Korean and trying to imitate it. So a direct way of doing that is shadowing, playing a clip, trying to follow it. Maybe incorporate a little bit of shadowing into your daily studies, like 5 minutes. You don't need too much, just for, you'll get more later as you start speaking. But just trying to listen to Korean, following it a little bit, not paying so much attention to exactly how they're saying it, but just try to follow it the best that you can. Even if you're not saying the sounds perfectly, try to say it how they're saying it. And add a little bit of shadowing into it, but allow for more time because a year is too short to sound fluent. Lauren eats dinosaurs. That's exactly like British people. Are British people kind of like that too? You don't like to talk about always like positives. You like talking about terrible things, bad things a lot too. And this is a generalization. So I mean that as in, you're not going to find every Korean likes this or all Koreans typically do this, but it's more like most people do. In general, that's what they like. I've known some Koreans who love sarcasm, but the majority do not. That sort of thing. So generally, you won't get that same type of sarcasm as you do in the US or Canada or England, right? Well, a lot of Korean people are interested these days in British English. I know I've met lots of people who say they want to learn British English specifically. And I ask why. They say, oh, it sounds cool. And I'm like, well, okay, you're right about that. And yeah, you might connect well with, like a British person might connect well with a Korean person in some ways better than an American person can connect with a Korean person. I don't know. I mean, wherever you're from, you're going to find things that you can connect with Koreans, but there are going to be some differences still. So just be aware that not everything will connect, and that's okay. Okay, let's scroll down here. I think American people are the odd ones. Yeah, well, we are odd, especially us Los Angeles people. Next to the beach, we're spoiled out here. Get perfect weather and we still complain about air conditioning. We're complain buddies. Yeah, complain buddies. And you'll find complain buddies among, people in the US as well. But in general, I feel like you get a lot more focus on positivity. It'll be like you complain, but then you say, oh man, I saw this movie. Oh, that was great. Oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. You get more of that great than the bad. Like is that similar to Middle Eastern people as well? Do you get that generally like focus on more negative what we would consider in, Western cultures, more negative types of topics? I don't know. I don't know about many other cultures. It's just something I've kind of come to realize about Korea. Lauren eats dinosaurs. We share the misery and bond over it a lot. Yeah, that's a Korean thing. Yeah. Rather than talking about positive things and talking about your achievements will usually sound like bragging. Yes. Yes, that's right. Not that it always will. And you'll still hear Koreans. There will still be Koreans that love to brag. Oh my goodness. I met so many Koreans that just love to brag. Like, oh, well, when I was meeting with the department chief of Samsung, and then my friend came in, it was the Hyundai CEO. And I'm like, hey, and he met up and he was actually calling his friend, and the friend showed up and it was this famous drama actor. I've heard this type of stuff before. It's really annoying. But yeah, so you'll still find lots of exceptions, even among the same people who would still bond over negative things. You'll still find exceptions. Just a general thing to be aware of. We like to complain about the weather in the UK. Most common conversation. Oh, okay. I like to complain about it too, but I've never even been there. So I guess it is really common. I just know it's terrible over there. It's terrible, right? That's all I know is terrible weather. Never even been there before. I'll write a review without even going. Terrible weather, 1 star. Terrible food is the other thing I also hear. That the best food in the entire UK is like French food and curry. Let's see. Although I know that's not 100% true. I'm sure there's good food there too. It's just in general, it's kind of talked as being boring or bad. Okay. There will always be my dad is Bill Gates type of people. Yes. My mom is Nintendo. I've heard that a lot when playing online games. To be like, my dad is Xbox. He's going to get your account banned. Yeah. Ryan TV, welcome. We French are the best complainers. Okay, I'll give that to you. The French, I don't know very many French people. I just know that the few French people that I knew were very unique. I felt like very open and very cool. Like they really didn't care. They just didn't care about anything. Is kind of what I got. Like, not in a bad way, just in a unique way. But I didn't have any close French Korean friends growing up. So yeah, I did French in high school for 4 years and college for another almost 2 years, I think. And so I have a lot of exposure to like hearing French and stuff, but I never went there. I didn't have any French friends. I just only have good things to say. I loved my attempt at studying the language, even though I never learned it. It was a lot of fun. When I was your age, I was older already. Yeah. Sue Amazing, am I going to do the Korean language trends series again? Probably not, but not for the reason you're thinking. Well, actually, 2 reasons. One reason is I didn't get very many views on the videos, but they took a long time to make. I would spend like 2 days writing and filming. I guess editing maybe 2.5 days per video. So it's longer than my Korean FAQ series, but the views were always very low. Like no one cared about those videos. I'm sorry. No one cared about them. I enjoyed making them, but I felt like I'd make it, no one would watch it, and then a year later it's out of date. So I didn't want to keep making them. And another reason is because nowadays I prepare my video ideas several months in advance. So maybe 2 or 3 months in advance, I know what video is going to come out. Even if I haven't filmed it yet, I have it planned already. So if I make a trends video, which will be based on something that came out like 6 months or a year ago, sometime within the last year, and then I upload it even a few months later, by then it's like, it's no longer the latest, coolest trend. Now it's more like an analysis of an older trend. So yeah, probably not, but I won't say never. If you ask a Puerto Rican, how are you? You better grab a chair and popcorn. It's going to be a long one. Is that true? I've never been to Puerto Rico. But yeah. They love to talk about how they've been. So I'm guessing it's also kind of a culture where you like to talk about the negatives, which, yeah, I'm fine with. Just be aware of that. I think if you're not aware of this stuff and then you meet a Korean person who's like that, then you might think, oh, this is such a negative person. I don't want this kind of negativity in my life. You might think that mistakenly, when really to them, they're trying to be friendly with you. They're trying to open up to you the same way as you are trying to, you want to brag to someone in a friendly way to get them to like you. They want to complain about stuff to get you to like them. Like they're also opening up to you. So you just kind of know that, like they're being friendly in their own way, even if it's not what you're used to. And that's a lot of what I'm learning too, is the more you learn about Korean culture, the more you'll learn about different cultures. Like this isn't the only way that you can live, kind of thing. Dad jokes, yes. More dad jokes. 한국어를 배우기 중요스. Tubu. Okay, I kind of got what you're saying in Korean first, but then I thank you for clarifying in English. You're stuck in intermediate level. So that would be 중급, middle, 급 level. So middle level, 중급. I have a video called Intermediate Plateau, exactly for your question, that I filmed a long time ago. I think in 2017 or 2018, I think. Or was it 2019? 2018 or 2019. I filmed a video about the intermediate plateau. And that's what you're describing. So that's where you are able to make a lot of Korean sentences, but you can't get beyond there. The really short version is there is no such thing really as the intermediate plateau. Really, you're still learning, but it's hard to see the progress. But how to get over there is you need way more exposure and practice to Korean than you have ever been getting. And if you're only stuck at doing like 5 or 10 or 15 minutes a day, you can't get past the intermediate plateau because you're going to be forgetting stuff that you've learned, a year or two ago while you're trying to learn new things, and it'll be really almost impossible to get out of that level. You have to increase the amount of time you're spending. So play more Korean videos while you're sitting at your computer. Switch your phone into Korean. Like anything you can do to increase the amount of exposure you have. Play podcasts in Korean while you're driving. Have a friend who you can call every once in a while to say hi. Even if you're not just studying, but just exposure and practice. Even if you're not studying, just exposure and practice. You need a lot more of that, way more of that to get beyond that. But that's really all it is. There's only so much you can learn by books alone. No one could sit down in a room by themselves without internet and a big pile of every Korean book, Korean dictionary, every Korean lesson ever made, read every single one. No one would become fluent at Korean. No one. I guarantee you. Doesn't matter how high your program goes. It could say from like beginner to super advanced. It doesn't matter if it really has everything in it. You would never get fluent by that. You have to have a large amount of input and output for the language, just like any language, because a language it's spoken language. So you have to speak it. You can't learn it like cooking. You're not going to learn cooking by reading books. You learn the recipes from books. You get an intro from books. Classes. You can go to classes and learn the techniques, but you can't get good at cooking by just sitting in a class. You have to do it. You have to be exposed to it. You have to try cooking. You learn how to cut an onion. Great. Now you got to cut it. Wait, how do I do that? Oh, that's right. And after you've done it 100 times, then you realize you don't need that video to learn it anymore. Now you've got it. And that's the same with language learning. So you need to go out and learn it. That's how you get over the intermediate plateau. Okay, I've been totally going off topic. Okay, I need to stop now. It's enough. Enough questions. I was looking at the current viewers and I was waiting for the number to drop. Then I would leave, but I actually have more people. There are more people now than when I started this Q&A at the end of the live stream. Okay, maybe I'll do one more question. Learning in context is the best method. Yeah, learning in context is how you'll remember it forever and not just remembering it while you're studying it. Like Anki or vocabulary study is great, but you never really know those words until you've used them. And until you can actually use them and hear them in context, it's always going to be something where you have to think like, oh, what was this word? What was this word? Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, I got that. But you can't, that's too slow for a conversation to use it. So you have to actually get these words in context. You actually have to use them so that they'll stick. Mustang, I'm a Korean, but I used to live in Japan. Yeah, nice. I have one of my friends is Korean and lives in Japan right now. Caitlin Moon says, I always struggle with remembering Korean vocab. You can add in, I would just add in something like Anki, A-N-K-I, just vocabulary review. Just remember, just add in more vocabulary review to your regular grammar studies and listening practice and all of that. And that should be fine. I use flashcards with example sentences. Yeah, that works too. However, I will say that you might need a lot of example sentences sometimes because some words, it'll have an example, you'll see an example sentence and that's not really how it's always used, or that's one way of using it, but it's also used like this. So don't let that be the only experience, the only exposure you have to a certain word, but it could be useful it's better than nothing. Paulina says, I learn Hanja more now and my vocabulary really improved. Yeah, you'll see a big spike in improvement once you've learned some Hanja. Immediately, once you start picking up Hanja, it'll like triple. It'll immediately add a ton of vocabulary and help you remember some you already know. Like you might learn a complicated word like 연초 or 연초, I guess, the beginning of the year, 연초 or 연말. And then you learn that comes from the Hanja, 연 or 연 for year. And wait, did I say, I don't remember what I said. Did I say 연초, right? I'm sorry, I might have been thinking of another word that's also for a general, like a yearly conference or yearly meeting. So 연초 or 연말 would be beginning of the year, end of the year. And when you learn 연 for year and 초 for beginning and 말 for end, then it's like you remember them really easily because you just see those there. And then if you learn 월초, 월말, you don't have to really learn them. You already know them immediately. So Hanja is just a really quick way to like really quickly exponentially level up your vocabulary. Lauren Eats Dinosaurs. Would you recommend 입니다 or 요 form? It really doesn't matter. I started my book with 입니다 form because my assumption was learners want to start using Korean right away. And if you start using Korean right away with the 니다 form, you're going to be polite. You're safe. Also, 니다 form is really easy to use. So you can start making sentences like that. Like you do need to still learn some sound change rules to pronounce it. Like 합니다 is not 합니다. But once you just learn the alphabet, you can start writing sentences. The 요 form, however, you have to learn a bunch of rules to conjugate it. So I feel like in the very beginning, the 요 form is more commonly used, but the 요 form has some downsides in the beginning. Ultimately, though, it doesn't matter because when you're a brand new beginner, you're not going to be saying anything in Korean anyway. Like you might say 감사합니다 when you go to the restaurant or 주세요, but you're not going to be having conversations. It doesn't matter. So in the beginning, if you start with the 요 form, like my video series does, or the 니다 form, like my book series does, it makes zero difference. You'll learn both of them. You need both of them, but which one you start with doesn't matter. 초보자, is it the same? Yeah. 초보자. And then you'll also learn, let me just double check. You'll also learn the character 자. which is used commonly for a person who is something. So now you have 초, beginning, 보. You'll learn it means like a step, like walking. So it's like the first step, and then 자 is a person, 자. And now you know, oh, maybe these are used in other characters too. And then you'll see 자 used at the end of other words, and you'll see 보 used in other words for walking or steps or something. So yeah, all of this helps. At the very least, when you learn new vocabulary words and you see a word that has 한자 in it, you'll be able to remember it more easily. You're like, oh, I remember it had this word, and I know this one means this. Is it bad studying my major chemistry in Korean for improving in study? I actually just filmed a video about that 2 weeks ago, but you'll have to wait a month before I upload it. Learning two things at once. If you have the time for it, it's okay. But if you feel like you don't have the time to do both, then no, it's going to be a detriment. It's going to slow down your Korean studies. If you're okay with that, sure. If you have the time, sure. But sometimes you have to balance how much is this actually worth my time? Like if I'm learning it in Korean, am I actually still able to get a good session out of it? Or am I spending twice as long and now I don't have any free time? Like I should have spent the time just doing this, but I spent it all doing this. Then that might not be a good idea. Anyway, okay, I should probably stop, or I'm just going to keep going. It's already been 40 minutes. No one's leaving. So I'm gonna stop here. I was expecting everyone would leave once I started the Q&A, but everyone's still stuck around. Thank you so much. Thank you again for coming. Make sure to check out the Discord. If you'd like to support me, please consider joining my Patreon page. And I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.